we are learning more legal expertise with the Peterson Law Office.
And so Justin Peterson joins us now to tell us more. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you all for having me again.
Okay,
Great to see you.
so if someone is interested in choosing their perfect lawyer or just finding the good lawyer, how would they go about that?
Sure. So there's obviously a lot of choice. You see that when you're driving on the roadway with billboards and commercials and all of that. I think, we handle so many catastrophic cases. We're usually dealing with families and not just an individual. So I think it's really important that the attorney you choose, can connect with you really well, shares the same values as you and your family, is communicative, making sure they're keeping you up to date on what's going on, and so I think that's hugely important when you're choosing an attorney, for sure.
That personal touch, it makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And speaking of touch, a lot of us were touched by weather yesterday.
Big time.
Big time stuff passing through. You were without power for a little while, no damage to your house, but what's the situation like for someone that maybe was injured, or maybe somebody else's tree fell on their car, or something like? What is the proper procedure after that, but legally speaking?
Yeah, so that raises two issues. One's a coverage question, right, for insurance coverage, and then legal liability, right, if something happens to your land that comes from someone else's land, right? And a lot of times in a situation like that, there's probably not going to be any legal liability because of the nature of the wind that was coming through, those 70+ mile an hour winds that were coming through. However, if you've reported a dead tree on your neighbor's property, if you've reported something that looks to be a defective condition, and that does materialize during that storm, you certainly have an argument that there may be some legal liability there. But of course, in those situations, there's also the coverage issue, right? We have act of God exclusions in our insurance coverage, and a lot of times some of those things from a legal liability perspective may not be covered. And so what I tell everybody is try to get your own insurance to cover you in these situations, right? Because when your property is damaged, it shouldn't exclude that, right? And if it does, then talk to your agent and say, why is this excluding that? Let's make sure I'm covered in my situation. And that's probably the best way to protect yourself and your property, is to ensure your own homeowner's coverage or rental coverage or whatever you have covers you in the event of these situations.
Now, I know we are talking about damage in a lot of those instances, but what about flooding? A lot of times we enter into a situation where your car is now flooded, and what do you do?
Well, it's the same thing. You want to get with your insurance, and you want to make sure there's not like a groundwater exclusion in your insurance policy. You want to make sure things are covered appropriately. You can get endorsements on your policies to cover those types of damages to your home. So these are the things you should be talking to your insurance agent about, and if they decline your coverage and you think you have coverage, you can call us. I mean, we do handle insurance bad faith. The Kentucky legislature passed a law called the Kentucky Unfair Settlement Claims Practices Act that says insurance companies have to treat you fairly and they can't misrepresent coverage. And so we do get calls about that. I don't do a lot of that work, but I've done coverage work my whole career because I started out as a defense attorney defending insurance companies, and so I've uniquely qualified to do a lot of that coverage analysis.
Justin, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
And you've got a wonderful website, justinpetersonlaw.com. It's fantastic. You've got the 24-hour chat on there, and you can get some information there. It is 859-469-6390. We appreciate your expertise, my friend.
Thank you all.
Thank you.